Okay, okay. Okay, everyone. And so, what is in your house? I've talked about this a few weeks ago of what is in your house. And let's see here. Okay. And this past weekend, I had the pleasure of being in the room with Cassandra Davis, and she is the founder of Pearls of Wisdom, and she had a guest speaker, and this was the third anniversary of Pearls and Wisdom, and with the speaker. And that was one of the questions. And whew, you had it was an experience. That's one thing I can say. And with Cassandra Davis, again, she is the founder of Pearls of Wisdom, and she's the first lady of Servant Church. So definitely check them out. Definitely make sure you do that. Again, I had the pleasure of being in that room, and it just really hit me. You know what I'm saying? It's like there are some talk, some sermons, some preaching. It just hits you in a certain way. And I know several weeks ago, it may have been a month or so ago, we talked about when the widow was asked, "What is in your house?" But anyway, in this talk, in this sermon, it pretty much was talking about what's in your house, and that wise women build her house, and I'm gonna say and I'm not gonna say and with her own hands the foolish ones tear hers down. And I want to say, like, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, for those of us who have a calling, for those of us who pretty much, have something to say, it's like you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a movement, you have a ministry, you are purpose driven. But let me tell you something. There are things that you do, some things that you don't do that is holding you back. It's holding you back. So what are you building? Because one thing that I will say, because I even think about it myself, like, where did I get this message that I have to be the one to help others build, where I have to be the one to help, support others, where I have to be the one. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy doing it, but do I need to be the one? Because anything that I've learned by being a therapist is that many individuals, man or woman, be so busy of supporting others that you don't even support yourself. And this is what self-care you is all about, and this is what Fortitude Free Circle is all about. It's so that you can come back to yourself. And if anybody tells you that you are, being selfish, that you're only thinking about yourself, now we know that there are some individuals who do not consider others. That's different. We're not talking about those individuals who do not consider others. But what we're saying is, if you are not considering yourself, you're not going to be able to build your house. Now, in general, even when they're talking about what is in your house, they're still kind of talking about like how you're supporting others, what are you doing, or for others in your community and in your family and in your household. But I'm here to tell you, what about in your own house, meaning within you? Because I'm telling you, if you do not build your own house, it will get knocked down. And I'm going to say this, it's not even really about building your house. That's part of it, but it's maintaining, sustaining, and retaining your own house. because you think that you're good. It's like, hey, I done built my house. I am all good. Look what I built over here. But you're not doing anything to nurture yourself. You're not doing anything to recondition the things that you may not even know that you hold on to, certain beliefs that you have that you don't need to have, that may be holding you back from your purpose, from your ministry, from your movement. And so it is important for you to really look within, because of the fact, as it is said, that by your own hands, we're not going to call you foolish here, but you could be tearing down your own. Oh, y'all, this is good. You're tearing down your own foundation by trying to help someone else where you need to be helping yourself. How many of you have done that? I always like to say, we're not doing it on purpose, but it happens. I mean, I can remember an experience that I had when I was helping someone else. And I felt like where I needed some help emotionally, it's like they didn't have no time at all. It's like, really? Like, really? But also, I was working on a belief that has some deficit in it. And some of you may say, Sharon, that is not a bad belief. And that belief was, when I'm blessed, I help others. I bless others with my blessing. And of course, we always know, you don't give nobody your last or whatever that is. But that was a very powerful experience, a very profound experience that I had. I want to say it's a phenomenal experience. Now, I didn't like the experience when I was in it, but I will say from that experience, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I get to choose. Because what I noticed is what it was out of alignment. The friendship was out of alignment. And not only that, I wasn't honoring myself, that I get to choose me and my preference. And I get to choose how I use my resources, even though I have it. Yes, it was God given. But the thing is that if you're just always output, 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 and even though it can be for a really good reason, but the thing is to be able to honor you. Because what's the use of honoring everybody else, but you're not even honoring yourself? Honoring yourself is so important. And again, I'm not talking about that high, ego. No, we're not talking about that. That's on a different level. That's different. Those individuals, when they're not considering others, that's what it was in that so-called friendship that I thought that existed, because we've had at least one experience in our lifetime. And that was the only experience that I can think of that I've ever had where I would consider I was a friend to someone, but that person wasn't a friend to me. It took me a minute to figure that out. And the thing is, you do not have to, again, share your resources. You do not have to really be their friends. You can be friendly, but not be their friends. And so that belief that, oh, as long as I'm blessed, I'll be a blessing to others. That had to be shaken. It had to wake me up. Just like, oh, Sharon, I'm not honoring myself. How many times that you all have done that? And yeah, we know people say, oh, when you give for your heart. I was giving from my heart. I didn't know that I was going to need a favor. How many of you have been in that position? You don't know that you need a favor. And let me say something about that, because some of you all just be running as if people just outright doing things just to get something back. In one sense, yes, we do it in business all the time. So I'm here to tell you, if you're an entrepreneur and if you're not positioning yourself, one, where someone can, um, benefit from your service, but where you can offer your service. If you're not doing that to get something back, then just go ahead and pack your bags and just say, hey, this is not for me. Because it's the business side of our calling, especially I always like to say for those of us who are heart center, sometimes you may not always get. So again, what is in your house? Because before you can even build your house per se, and I'm not going to say before, but in order to build your house, you got to declutter it. Sometimes there can be too many things in there physically in your space, but what about mentally in your space? Because sometimes I always like to say, sometimes we can clean the external, in which the external can impact your internal, but then it also it definitely impacts you mentally, even emotionally, and all of that. And a lot of times we don't do enough of cleaning up what's inside of us. We're so busy supporting and giving and being a servant, but you're not even being a servant to yourself. And let me tell you something about that. Your soul seeks that. The very thing that you wish that somebody else may do for you or may honor you for, are you doing it for yourself? That's really the thing. Life is really simple when you give yourself the things that you may be seeking or even the things that you may be given. And so, as you are decluttering your system and you're cleaning your house, make sure you clean the inside of yourself as well with your thoughts. Even check yourself with certain emotions that may be going on within you. And then the other thing is, what are you holding on to? Because sometimes the door be closed while y'all be opening up the door or trying to go back and peep to see what you miss. You didn't miss anything. Lessons are learned so that you can move forward. Because like I told you, with that lesson that I learned about honoring myself, it's like if there comes a fork in the road where I have to choose me over someone else, even if that other person is in need, I'm going to have to choose me. Now, I do want to say it may depend on certain dynamics. It may. But for the most part, if somebody is able, I'm going to say able mind, because you don't have to be able body, but you're able mind, not in alignment, I'm going to honor myself. Going to honor myself because generally people, when things are not reciprocated, that's the thing we really need to look at. And let me know what you think in the comments because of the fact, all I can say is if you're tired, if you're exhausted, sometimes you're doing it to yourself. Because of the fact you got too many hands in the fire and you're the one who's holding the match. Whew. Anyway. But the main thing is that as you are motivating others, make sure you continue to motivate yourself. And as you nurturing others, make sure you're not neglecting yourself. Because that's key. Because again, you're so busy of helping others, then you're not helping yourself. And that is in taking the time to sit still to see where you are, to explore where you want to be, because it's that gap. Even in listen to this, it helps fill that gap because you're like, okay, what is in my house? What's physically in your house that you may need to declutter, that you may need to let go? And a good example of that is this past weekend. I'm going to tell you a story about letting go. This past weekend, I finally took the time. It's taken me a while to do it, just mainly because I just didn't take the time to do it. I just say there are certain characteristics that I have that kind of delay or procrastinate. I know that some of you are able to relate. But anyway, I've had some physical pictures. Y'all remember the physical pictures, right? The physical pictures of my parents because when they were younger, they would take go on trips and take pictures and during holidays, and especially like with my stepdad, he had always had a camera. He had a video camera when it was the video, and then he loved taking pictures. And then even I noticed a lot of times I'm not in the pictures because I'm always taking pictures. But anyway, they would go on trips and had lots of pictures. And I was able to get these pictures. I'm doing one of the moves that my parents had because back in the day when you have pictures printed, they used to do like two, like they would automatically just do two sets of pictures. So I was able to get a lot of those pictures, and so in one sense, I, was separating them and this, that, and the other. But now in this digital age, it's kind of like I need to place them somewhere. And so I ended up putting them on, I'm just going to say the cloud. And and then I'm like, okay, I need to do something with the physical pictures. And even with those, I even separated those out even more. And some of them, I'm like, oh, I don't want to get rid of them. But I did. I still didn't get rid of all of them, but it just shows you too that sometimes we do have an emotional attachment to certain things, but there will come a time, even with some of the physical pictures that I have, that they will be gone. You know what I'm saying? They will be gone. But anyway, that is just an example of how we hold on to things and sometimes how it can be hard to let go. And then what goes into how we go about letting go of things. But the main thing is whether it's physical or internal, and I want to talk more about the internal aspects of us that can make it hard for you to let go, make it hard for you to clean up your own mental mess. And pretty much with that is by Dr. Caroline Leaf when she's talking about cleaning up your mental mess. Make sure you go and get her book. But also when you're talking about decluttering, your mind, so you can have the space so that you can be okay when you're helping others, when you're supporting others, when you're being of servitude. Because y'all, I'm telling you, if you are not purposely, intentionally nourishing yourself, you will leave yourself behind. And pretty much this is how it adds up, where you don't have the energy, you don't have, I don't even want to just say clarity, but when things may not be clear for you, you may seem foggy, you may be fatigued, having that brain fog. Sometimes, y'all, because you've been doing too much. You've been doing way too much. And so, in saying all of that, that is one of the reasons of why I had created the Fortitude Free Circle. And with the Fortitude Free Circle is for entrepreneurs. It's for entrepreneurs who's like, hey, I want to make sure I'm taking care of myself. It helps you to build discipline, embrace challenges, so you won't be running away from those hard things, and to pretty much sustain resilience, because resilience doesn't come just because you go through hard things, y'all. It's to build up, and it's also where you can have the mental capacity to hold the space when you're going through those hard things. Not saying that it will make it easier, but at least you can have some mental capacity with some things. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that can just be so hard that you're really just coasting along. And that's okay too. So this is why for all of us who are entrepreneurs, who are purpose driven, for us to take care of ourselves so that we can support each other. And this is the aim, and these are the things that we're doing inside the circle, so that you can have the space to develop the pace where you will be okay. You know what I mean? Because if anything, we want you to be able to make good, clear decisions from the choices that you have, because sometimes the choices can really look good, but it may not be good in and of itself. And then you would be quicker to cut things out, cut things off, let things go when necessary. Because that example that I gave you, when it came to, my belief of, if I'm blessed, I'm helping others, it would have allowed me to see, oh, I didn't have to bless that person. You know what I'm saying? And you don't, because you get to choose how you use your resources. And sometimes for some individuals, when it's not reciprocal, and you can define that for yourself, everybody has, different views when it comes to that. I did used to have, a very strong view, which is why, I had that experience for as long as I did, of that, no, I'm supposed to be blessing others who, no, because even that person had a choice of what they were doing, with their own lives, to put themselves in that position where they needed, other people's resources. Now, we all need other people's resources in different ways. And there are times in which we may not be able to we may not have the capacity to help them, and that's okay too. But this is where you have conversations with individuals as well, of where you are, and not feeling like you're ashamed or anything like that. But anyway, in order for you to, be able to navigate, in order to nourish others, is to nourish yourself. Because if you're not nourishing yourself, you're depleting your energy. You get fatigued because you're doing too much. You're trying to hold other people where they should be holding themselves. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes you be trying to hold other people when they should be holding themselves. And by this being social work mind, just by me saying that, one of the things that I truly believe in, always believed in, this is one of the reasons that I do this work, and especially this side of it, I'm going to say on the other side, is to help people to help themselves, and to be able to trust that they will be okay. And sometimes even if they're not okay, that is by their own choices. And this is where you can have the capacity to support them in their choices. It's like, yeah, this is what you choose. I'm sorry you're going through that. And that could be for anything, you know? And so, in saying all of that, for those of you who are entrepreneurs that feel like you need that support so that you can continue to have a capacity, because even I need reminders of doing certain things or removing certain thought processes, those limited beliefs from me as well. And Fortitude Free Circle is one of those places that can help you again. It's a place where you can create a pace where you feel like you're not always running around and doing so many things. It helps you to reach your goals, and whether that is a entrepreneurship goal, a business goal, or a personal goal. But all in all, it's about personal growth. And if you're an entrepreneur and personal growth is not in your, it's not a part of you, where you just think it's just about the business, or you just think it's just about the thing, then just go ahead and just pack your bags. That's the only thing I can say, because it's all about personal development. It's all about self-development. in that in of itself, if you want to learn more about the circle, comment circle, so that we can get you inside the circle so you won't be doing all of this by yourself, because there are going to be times when you're up and you're down and you be trying to clean up somebody else's house. You need to clean your own house. Stop trying to clean other people's houses and clean your own. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't always mean that something is wrong in your own house per se, but it does mean that it could be something within you that could be impacting you and you may not even know it. So that's another reason to go several layers deep within yourself. So for those of you who are interested in the circle, comment circle so that you can become a part of that.